Hello my dear students, today I am going to discuss a new chapter and its name is rural development. Okay, so in this video we will learn about the three important parts of rural development. First, that is the meaning. Second, challenges or key issues in front of the rural areas, and third, that is the classification of rural credit. Okay, so first, meaning of rural development. Okay, so rural development is a comprehensive term. Okay, as we know that agricultural development as well as those aspects which improve the living conditions of the people is known as rural development. Is it clear? We know that nearly 67% people are living in the rural areas. However, their condition is very miserable. Their living of a standard is very low. Productivity of these peoples is also low. Still, the women are illiterate. The contribution in GDP has declined, basically from the year 1991, because here the government is not going to invest any capital, and that is known as the lack of investment from public sectors. So these are the basic problems. Due to that, our rural areas is still backward, and that's why we have the need to improve that areas, and that is known as rural development. So if anybody asks from you, what do you mean by rural development? So your answer will be, it covers the agricultural development as well as those aspects which can improve the living of a standard of the farmers. Okay, so here two main components. First, that is the agricultural development, and second, that is the living conditions of the people who are living in the rural areas, and that is known as the meaning of rural development. The second point is, what are the challenges in rural development, or what are the key issues, what are the important issues for the rural development. So here I have taken 5 points. First, development of human resource. So as we know that all those people who have high knowledge, those persons who have the skill, knowledge, experience, they are considered as human resource. Is it clear? But in these areas, the literacy rate is very poor. So people are less educated. Basically, females are less educated. Okay. Second point, that is the health and sanitation problems they always face. So health and education is the main capital of human resource, and both are very poor, and that's why there is the requirement in these areas, that is the development of human resource. Here I want to give you one example. Japan has less resource, but in that country most of the people are highly educated, their life expectancy is more, health condition is more, that's why they are capable to do more hours of work. So human resource is the main resource of all physical resource. So unless it will not be developed, the developmental process can't take place. So that's why here, that is, I have taken the development of human resource. Second is the land reforms. In the previous chapters we have discussed agricultural reforms. So agricultural reforms was divided into three parts. One is known as the institutional reform, and institutional reform is also known as land reforms. Second is the technological reforms, and third was the some other reforms. So here we have already discussed the institutional reforms or land reforms is related to the solution which the farmer face. Okay, so first they face the problem of intermediaries. So intermediaries should be removed from the rural areas. Second, the condition of the tiller of the soil is very poor, so the government should take such kind of action, or they should give some rights so that the tiller of the soil can be protected. Next, we can say that improvement in agricultural productivity. Okay, so agricultural productivity can be improved only by implementing the more inputs or new forms of inputs so that the productivity may increase. Next, we can say the government should eliminate the exploitations of cultivators. So most of the cultivators are exploited by the landlords. So unless the government will not give the rights, it is not possible to change the land reform situations. Next, that is the development of infrastructure. So infrastructure means all those things which indirectly help in the production process. Infrastructures are two kinds. One is known as the social infrastructure, other is known as the economic infrastructure. So economic infrastructure contains first energy, second banking, third transportation and communication, and so on. On the other hand, that is the health and education is it also a part of infrastructure, because unless the people has no good health, they have no knowledge, the production or the productivity can't increase. That's why we can say that we should develop the infrastructure. So in the development of rural infrastructure, there are three main points. First, electricity, irrigation, transportation facilities should be provided. Second, for the credit, the banking system should be developed. Financial assistance must, it is must. Next is the facilities for agricultural research and extension. That is the most important, because it will increase the productivity. So research means the new technology should be implemented. So the government should initiative in the research work. And the last, that is the information should be given to the farmers time to time, and its dimension should be increased. So these are the basic development of the infrastructure. So if these facilities will be provided in the rural areas, our rural economy will increase at a faster rate. Now come to the fourth, that is the elevation of poverty. So elevation means removal of poverty. But as we know that poverty can't be removed from one place to another place, so it can be reduced. So elevation of poverty can be reduced by measuring some special programs, by implementing some special programs which has been already launched by the government, such as Manrega. So it provides the job opportunities. So The government should also implement more and more poverty alleviation programs. The government should also should assess the employment opportunities in the rural areas so that their income may increase and the poverty may declines. Next, living conditions of the farmers should be increased by providing the a special assessment basically for the weaker sections of the society. So in this way the poverty can be eliminated from the rural areas. And the next is the development of productive means. Okay, so productive means what? Maximum resources should be utilized, or the resources should be utilized in such a way the productivity may increase whatever the resources we have. And second, the better and affordable access to healthcare, sanitation facilities. Okay, workplace should be very cooperative, and they should be given educational facilities to the farmers so that the productive means so that the production can increase, and these are the part of productive means. So in this way we can say these are the basic challenges and it can be solved with the help of utilizing all these factors. Now come to the classification of rural credit. So first question here arises, what is the need of rural credit? So as we know that the per capita income of the people is very low, basically in the rural areas. They face the different kinds of problems, okay, such as at the time of ripening, at the time of showing, and so on. They have no ability to buy even the seeds and the other inputs which will be applied in the production process. So that's why the rural credit is essential. Clear? So this is the purpose of rural credit, but here the rural credit is classified or divided into two parts. One is known as according to the time and according to the purpose. So according to the time we can divide the rural credit in three parts. First, that is the short term credit. Second, mid term credit, and third, long term credit. So short term credit up to 1 year, mid-term credit up to 5 years, and long-term credit up to 20 years. Is it clear? So according to the time, the credit can be divided into three parts. One is known as the short-term credit, next one is known as the mid-term credit and medium-term credit, and the third, that is the long-term credit. Okay, so first question arises, what is the short-term credit? The credit which is given to the farmers from for the 1 year, that is known as the short-term credit. The credit which is given to the farmers up to 5 years, that is known as mid-term credit, and the credit which is given to the farmers for 20 years, that is the long-term credit. Now, short-term credit fulfilled the requirement of short-term needs such as purchase of seeds, tools, manure, fertilizers. Purchase of tools, seeds, fertilizers, So this is known as short-term credit. Okay. So mid-term credit, it is basically used for the purchase of what? It is digging of wells, okay, some expensive equipments, okay, construction of cattle, purchase of cattle, okay, cattle. So these are the basic requirements of the farmers, and it can be fulfilled by if they will be given the mid-term loan up to 15 years and 5 years, then they can solve these problems. Okay. Next is the long-term loans, and it is basically purchased for the purpose of different, such as हेलो, हाँ बोलो, आ जाओ, हम तो पढ़ा ही रहे हैं, ठीक है, हाँ. So here, that is the long term. So long term needs is what? For the assets, for the purchase of assets, tractors and other long term machines. Okay, and this is the requirement of that. Sometimes they also take the loan for the purchase of lands, heavy equipments, okay. Now come to the here, according to the purpose. So this was the related to according to time. Now according to purpose, it can be divided into two parts. One is known as productive purpose, and other is known as unproductive purpose. Okay, so one is known as the productive purpose, other is known as unproductive purpose. Okay, so if the loan has been taken for production purpose, that is known as productive purpose. Such as, here we can take some example of purchase of cattle, digging of wells, construction work, fertilizers, machines, seeds, etc., which will help to improve the output of the farmers, and that's why it is known as productive purpose. Clear? So here I have taken short-term loan, mid-term loan, long-term loans, and here the example I have taken for the purchase of tools, seeds, fertilizers, digging of wells, equipments, cattle, assets, tractors, heavy equipments, except land. So if for this purpose, if the loan is taken, that will be considered as productive purpose, because these are the equipments, these are the inputs by which they can generate more and more income. Here that is the unproductive purpose. So unproductive purpose means if the loan has been taken for the marriage purpose, to remove the old debt, to make first marriage purpose, marriage, repayment of old debt, third construction of house, okay. So if the loan has been taken to fulfill such kind of work, that is known as unproductive purpose. Religious works also here you can mention. Okay, so these are the basic requirements of the farmers, and if the loan has been taken for these purpose, that is known as unproductive purpose. I hope you will be able to explain all these things in a better way if you will go through the book. Thank you.